Okay, finally, I'm making this video. After months of people asking me about my experience at UC3M, I'm finally making this video. Okay, so I am, for those who are new here, my name is Geralda. I went to Universidad de Carlos III in Madrid in the spring semester, so the second semester from, well, it was supposed to be from January to May, but COVID cut that short, so it canceled all classes and it switched to online. But I didn't go home until, so I stayed there for like 3 months there, and I would say that I have a good enough experience to share to you guys. I'm gonna tell like my whole experience in Spain. So this is gonna be a 4-part video. This video right now. So this first part is gonna be about my orientation experience and also my academic experience at UC3M. And then the second part is going to be about how I made friends / ESN experience and my trips that I went on EC3M. And my third and fourth parts is going to be like, it's going to be things I bought that really helped me in Madrid. Also, I'm going to talk about my apartment situation, which I did talk about if you guys didn't see it in my last video. I'll put it up in the cards up there. And also just like other things like apps, the restaurants I went to, the other stuff I went to, like I went to a concert, I went to 2 museums, and yeah, just other stuff. So that's gonna be 3 and 4, which I'm gonna break it up. So this video is gonna be about my orientation and my academic experience. So without further ado, I'm gonna tell you guys everything. By the way, all the information that I'm getting from this, you can get it on their website, which has information for incoming international exchange students for the undergrad. So they have all information if you're wondering about questions about this or questions about that. They have everything. So I will link the website down below. Okay, first I'm gonna talk about the orientation first. So I arrived at Spain January 22nd, and orientation was the next day, so January 23rd. And the orientation took place at the Leganes campus at their auditorium instead of the Getafe campus. I don't know why they did that. Like, I don't know why they chose the Leganes campus, because the Leganes campus is for science majors, so like engineering or science majors, and the Getafe campus is for humanities, you know, history, business, economics people. So I don't know why they chose the Leganes campus, but it's whatever. So we went to orientation at the Leganes campus. It was raining, by the way. Oh wait, before I tell you guys about the orientation, I don't have any footage of orientation. Like, I just wanted to focus on orientation rather than just filming also. Like, so sorry, I don't have any video of orientation at all. But yeah, so orientation took place at the Leganes campus. So when I first went there, it was raining, by the way. So good thing I brought my umbrella. It was raining. I went with my roommates together. So me and my roommates, we were living in Getafe, so right next to the Getafe campus. And so we took the metro all the way to Leganes, which is pretty close. So we took the metro all the way to Leganes. When we got to the campus of Leganes, we were pretty confused of like where to go. Like, it was just kind of like, oh, we're here at Leganes, now what? Like, where do we go, you know? And so eventually we found out where to go. We went to like, it's around like the cafeteria area where like they have like signs of like explaining like what to do. So they separated room by the first letter of your last name. So when you get there, you have to go to the rooms to get your certificate of arrival. And so actually, I think I still have it. If I still have it, I'll put it up on the screen. I'll show you what it looks like. There's also an optional student card of UC3M. So this is when, before orientation, you have to upload a photo of yourself. So you have to upload your photo, and they're going to ask you if you want in your email. They're gonna ask you if you want a student card. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. And so I pretty much signed up for it. And all you have to do is like put up a photo of yourself, either smiling or not smiling, behind a wall with nothing on it, a white wall, blue wall, green wall, whatever, with nothing on it. And yeah, you're just free to go. And so when you go there to your room, so my room was A to C. So I went to A to C and I went there. I said my first name, last name, and then they gave me my certificate, and with the certificate comes with the student card, so it comes together. And so now you have your certificate of arrival and your student card. The student card is called TUI, the TUI card, but I don't know what it stands for. You have your student card of Carlos III. Also, if you sign up for the virtual app, the UC3M virtual app, your student card is also on there virtually, so it's on there too. There's also optional buddy program, which I signed up for, but I kind of didn't do it when I arrived there. I did have a buddy, but me and my roommates, after we got our card, our certificate and our card, we just kind of just went to the auditorium. And so there's a buddy program, and I don't know, I don't have any experience with that. I didn't meet up with my buddy, but there's a buddy program, so you get to speak. I guess they teach you. I guess they tell you their experience of Spain and Madrid and what restaurants to go to and what places to see. So that's the buddy program. Or if you want to improve your Spanish, you could use the buddy program too. So we got our certificate of arrival, and then we kind of just like got separated because we have different last names, of course, to my roommates. So we got different last names, so we got kind of separated. So I went alone to the auditorium. So I just walked up, you know, it has arrows to the auditorium. So I went up to the auditorium. Eventually it filled up with a lot of people. Like, there was a lot of international students. Oh yeah, by the way, this everybody was international students. So there's people from Great Britain, there's people from Australia, like anybody who's international was all in there in the Leganes auditorium. So when we got into the Leganes campus, I met up with some people. Like, I met some people before we got into the rooms. So we just waited a little bit, and then we were allowed to go to the rooms that separated from our surnames, or from our last names, surnames. And so I got separated from my roommates, so I just kind of just went alone to the auditorium of Leganes, and it had arrows like all over. So the orientation of, like, you know, the talk and, you know, the performances and the actual like talking, it's basically educational, about not educational, but it's like informative. Like, it talks about, you know, the campuses, the differences of the campuses, and like what, you know, the information about, like, you know, the scheduling of classes and, like, you know, the academic calendar. Also, there's a performance of a dancer, super nice, didn't record it, sorry. And there's also information about ESN, and also after that orientation, we could go to the ESN office and sign up for the card. I'll talk about it in my next video of ESN, my ESN experience. So yeah, there was a talk from the president of UC3M, and yeah, just like other academic teachers. And honestly, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, I almost fell asleep. I mean, it was the day after I arrived, so I was getting used to the time zone. I mean, the time zone in New York and in Spain is totally, it's like 6-hour difference, so I was trying to, you know, get adjusted, and so I almost fell asleep. Yeah, they just talked about, like, you know, about the university and, like, you know, and informative stuff. And so yeah, that was pretty much it. There was a lot of people there, like a lot of people. I did meet a few people there, I did. If there is photos there, they do have a Instagram. They were taking pictures. They took a picture of me. If there is a photo on their Instagram of the orientation, I'll put it up here, put it all up here. And yeah, so that was orientation. And so after orientation, they were serving churros and chocolate down in the cafeteria. So me and this girl I met from the auditorium, we went all the way down to the cafeteria, and oh my god, there's a lot of people there. Yeah, a lot of people. So we went down there to the cafeteria and we got our churros and chocolate. So yeah, me and this girl, we just like hanged out, you know, for a little bit in the Leganes campus. Also, somebody else was doing like a video, like they were interviewing students, like, oh, why did you come to UC3M, you know, and what are you studying, why did you choose Spain? And so they asked me to be on camera, so I went on camera. So if you guys find it, I don't know where it is, I never saw, I don't know if they used it, but I did go on the camera, and then the interview asked me the question and I answered the questions. So yeah, so after that, me and the girl that I hanged out with, we left. And however, this is my first time leaving without my roommate, so I didn't know how to work the metros. So me and the girl, like, when we went to the Leganes Leganes Central? Is it Central? Whatever, the Leganes metro, and she kind of like taught me how to, like, she pretty much taught me how to use the kiosk. The kiosk? Is that what it's called? The kiosk? Yeah, I basically got home. Also, I met more people on the line. So on the line to ask, like, information, you know, to the person that's working there, I was with the girl, and then there's more students coming back to the Leganes metro, and we talked even more with these more people. So yeah, I met where people. So basically, I met a lot of people during the orientation. What I will say about orientation, what I didn't like is that they don't show tours. Like the only they okay. Here's the thing: they only showed a tour of the physical of the gym, like the fitness center of Leganes, but that's it. They don't show a tour of like the Leganes campus. Not that I wanted the Leganes campus. It's just that like they don't show a tour of the Leganes campus. They don't offer tours in the Getafe campus, and also they never explained the room numbers. So the room numbers were just numbers. So we didn't know what the room numbers meant. So we didn't know where our classes was. Eventually, I found it out on my first day of school. Also, I made a video about that. It's up here. I'll put it in the cards. So yeah, I eventually found out how to figure out classes on my first day of school, which I did not like how they didn't show a tour and they didn't explain like the class numbers, like where to find our classes. But anyways, I forgot to tell you what the class numbers meant, so I'm gonna show you guys right now. Okay, so the first number is gonna be the building number, the second number is gonna be the floor number, and then the last number, the third number, is gonna be the room number. So for example, 06, building 06, building 6 is the building number, 02 is the floor number, and 07 is the room number. So that's how you find your classroom. Also, I just want to mention some things that I noticed about the Getafe campus. Some buildings are built similarly. So I forgot which exact buildings, but I think building 6 and building 7 are built similarly. So they have like the same placement of the stairs, or like, you know, the same, you know, placement of the classrooms. So yeah, some buildings are built similarly. There's two different cafeterias. There's cafeteria on one campus, and then there's cafeteria on the other campus, it's on the same campus, but you cross the street for the other buildings. So for building 14, 15, and 16, you have to cross the street. It's like a little street in the back of the campus, and then you get to go to those buildings, and then there's another cafeteria. And also in the cafeterias, I never bought anything there because I live really close to my apartment, so there's kind of no point. So but they serve sandwiches, salad, coffee, and tea, and other things, but I haven't tasted anything, so I can't say if it's good or bad. There is two ways to get by, like the metro or the train. So there's one metro that's near the campus. It is called Juan de la Cierva, and that's the metro. And then there's a train. It's the Renfe Las Margaritas, and that's another way to get to the campus. I noticed when I was there at the campus, there was a ton of smoking areas. So yeah, there's like a lot of students that smoke. I noticed that is a thing in Europe, that a lot of people my age, so like 18 to 25, smoke, which is not typically normal in America. So I noticed that a lot of Europeans my age smoke. There are computer rooms. So one of my classes, we were in a computer and we did everything on the computer. So there are computer rooms. There's a school store that I haven't went because of COVID. I was about to go to this school store, but COVID happened. I was about to buy my sweatshirt, like my UC3M sweatshirt, and then COVID shut down everything, so I couldn't get my sweatshirt. So anyway, so the next time I'm in Madrid, I'll get my sweatshirt. Okay, now that was orientation, and now about my academic experience for those months from in class to online. Okay, for academics, there is practical classes and the theory classes, and they put it separate. For some of my classes, of the practical classes and the theory classes, I have two different professors. So for example, for my statistic class, my practical and my theoretical professors were two different people in two different rooms and two different buildings. So I didn't really like that. Like, I don't know if that's like only in Spain or like in general of Europe, but we don't have that in America. At least not that I know. Like, your classes in America, you have the same professors, and your theory and practical classes is pretty much in the same class lecture, you know? Also, there's no homework, which don't get me wrong, I don't like homework at all. Like, I don't like homework, but what I will say about homework really like keeps me up of like, you know, what we're learning, and like, am I doing this right? Am I thinking like correctly about what we're learning? And there's no homework, which I didn't really like. So it's kind of like you kind of have to teach yourself. after what you learned in class. And with that, I didn't really like my math class. So my math class, I forgot to mention, it was Monday and Wednesday. So my Monday class was my theory class and my Wednesday class was my practical class. And so my Monday class was with a professor, and then my Wednesday class was my practical class. It was with another professor. And I don't know, I just didn't like it. It's just like they were explaining stuff on the board and then we just write it down, you know? And then they didn't never, like, if you ask questions, they will explain it to you, they will. But it's just that with how I'm used to in America, it's just like they teach it to you, and then after they teach it to you, they'll do examples on the board, and then you'll, you know, do those examples, and then you go over it with the class if you're doing everything right. And with the math classes, especially with the theory class and the practical class, it's like they were writing on the board and then rewrite that down on the board. It's like they do explain it, but like there's no examples. There's examples, but they don't let us do it. It's kind of like we just write it down on our notebooks and then that's it. So I didn't really like math there. I just didn't like it. So yeah, there is classwork, but it's just like the teacher's just talking and then writing, and then you write, and then if you have a question, you can ask the question. But there's just no, I guess, making sure we understand it, like in America. At least in my math classes in America. I never went to the library there ever. So I'm assuming there's no printers at all in the libraries. Except, it's just that in America we do have printers, so if you need to print something, you could just go to the library and print it. But in the Spanish university, I noticed that where I lived in my apartment, there was also stores, you know, close by my apartment, and there were a paper copying store. So if you go to the stores, you print out the stuff that you want to print out, or buy notebooks, because they also sold notebooks. So I'm assuming there's like no printers on campus, so you have to go to the printer copying store and print out the stuff that you want to print out. You can also print out photos. Also, as for textbooks, none of the textbooks that they said they say we needed. You know, it's not like, oh, in order to do this class, you have to buy the textbook. So no, none of the textbooks that they were saying that we need were required, and I got through it without them. But however, if you need a textbook, if you need to understand the material even more, like buy the textbook or find it somewhere in the internet. And so on, I want to say March 9th, because of the coronavirus, they canceled everything. So initially it was gonna be for 2 weeks. So on March 9th, they gave an email to the university, and they sent it out to the students that they're gonna shut down the university for originally 2 weeks, and then they're gonna resume classes, like in class, for the rest of the semester, you know. So for 2 weeks it's going to be online, and after those 2 weeks we're all going to be in class like before. However, a lot of people's home university were canceling the study abroad experience. Like, hey, this coronavirus situation, everybody has to come home. So basically those people who are leaving weren't going to come back after those 2 weeks, you know. And so I decided to stay for those 2 weeks. My study abroad office, they gave me the option to stay or leave. For other people that I know, yeah, it was mandatory. Like, they didn't have a choice. They kind of had to, like, go home. I stayed for those 2 weeks, and after those 2 weeks were up, they extended it, the online classes thing. And then they kept on extending and extending it. So my online classes experience. So online classes, what I will say, there's like pros and cons of online classes. I'm glad I have the experience of online classes. I never took an online class before. It's like everything's recorded. Everything is recorded, so if you miss something, you could just go back. It's recorded. It's gonna be on Aula Global, and you just click on the video, and then you just like replay it, you know. And also, if you need to have a question, you could just like, there's like it's like a special like feature on our online classes thing, where like you press the button to raise your hand, and the teacher will call on you and like, hey, you have a question. And then you'll ask your question, and then, you know, that's it. So online classes, what I will say, it's not the same as in like in-person reaction, you know, but what I will say, like, is, yeah, everything was just online. It was just like, I don't know, it was simple. So if you guys are worried about online classes, like, it wasn't really that hard. It was just like, it's just different from, I mean, there's pros and cons, you know, there's not like, there's no human interaction, you know. Also, I did have to give a presentation for one of my classes, but that was doable. So yeah, online classes, it was pretty easier than, I mean, not the material was easy, but it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be, like, to be online. So online classes wasn't really that bad. Yeah, everything was on Aula Global. Also, because of the coronavirus and because like people weren't willing to do online classes, their universities, their home universities, were giving them, the students, the option to cancel the semester if they want to. So this Brazilian guy I know, he just canceled the class. He just canceled his whole semester because he didn't want online classes at all. So yeah, some people were canceling their classes in general because they didn't want online classes, and a lot of people that I know, like, they stayed with their online classes. So yeah, that was online classes. Is there anything more I want to say about online classes? Yeah, basically what I have to say is that online classes, I was a little bit nervous at first, but it wasn't as difficult. It was just easy. Like, everything was just online. Everything was on Aula Global. Just remember stuff, you know. Don't forget, like, hey, you have your classes at, 6 p.m. Don't forget it. Also, because some of the students had to leave, they were going back to their home university's time zone, so meaning that the professors had to change something, meaning like they had to change, like, okay, what is that, attendance isn't mandatory, they just recorded the session and they'll upload it at Aula Global. And so yeah, that's it. And so yeah, that was online classes. Also, for those of you who are worrying they do have options of English classes, like lectures in English and lectures in Spanish. So if you're an English speaker, you don't speak any type of Spanish, all you know is, oh, hola, adios, agua, if you all you know is English, you could take lectures in English. When you sign up for the classes online, they will say, like, okay, what this lecture is in Spanish, this lecture is in English, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So there's lectures in English and there's lectures in Spanish, and they'll tell you, so you don't have to worry about it. So with that, you'll find more international students in the English classes, and the Spanish natives, of Spain, or if you're fluently in Spanish, like in the Latin American countries, you'll find them in those lectures in Spanish. So I found more, I met Brazilian, Canadians, other English-speaking people around the world in my lectures in English. And I have a friend who's from Argentina, and he takes all classes in Spanish. So that's one thing I noticed. Like, that's the thing, the classes in my lectures in English, I never really met a Spanish native there. So that's one of the things I noticed. My signing up experience, like to sign up for classes, like my experience for there, there's everybody, what I will say is kind of weird. Everybody has different sign up times. So my sign up time for classes was different from my roommates, and they were different from their friends, and so everybody has different sign up time. For example, my sign up time was the day I arrived in Spain at 1 p.m. Yes, at 1 p.m. in Spain time. But the sign up time for my roommates were the next day after orientation, So everybody has different sign up times. So that's pretty weird. I never really experienced that in America at all, where you can't sign up for classes. You have like a special time you can do it. So that's pretty different. Also, the thing is about this semester, it overfilled with classes. There's a limited amount of people. For example, class is only allowing 20 students. However, if you need that class, if you absolutely need that class, if you need to graduate, or if you just need it, you can just go show up for the class, and then you talk to the professor about it, like, hey, I know this class is filled up, but I really need this class to graduate, So yeah, that's what I noticed, that classes, like, and this was common for like everybody was trying to set up for classes, but it filled up like to the maximum. And so what everybody was, what my advisors, my study abroad office was saying is that just show up and just talk to the professor about it, and they'll make an arrangement and they'll be okay with it. Also, if you don't have a background in Spanish, but you're willing to learn in Spanish, there are special, Spanish classes, language to sign up for, but they're extra, so they're not part of the tuition. I forget how much the one I was trying to get into, but I think it was around 300 euros for that semester, and it's extra, so it's not part of the tuition. You have to pay extra. You have to do the test to see what level of Spanish do you have. Like, are you a beginner, or are you an advanced beginner? Are you intermediate, or are you advanced? Like, yeah, it's just like if you're wanting to improve on your Spanish, you have to take this test, and then they'll place you on which class is good for you. But the thing is about that, it's just that I signed up for it, I took the test. However, I had to drop it because like the classes that they were offering at the time and the days, I wasn't open for those days, so I had to like drop that, which I really want to take. However, my classes that I needed, they were interfering with the time, so they were the same time, so I had to drop it, which I didn't like, because I was willing to pay. I mean, 300 euros, I mean, I was willing to pay to improve my Spanish. But yeah, that was the thing about the language learning of Spanish classes. Okay, Aula Global. Aula Global, that's where you find your material for classes. Like, oh, the syllabus of your, oh my god, my earring was open this whole time. It's your student, how do you call it? Like your student registration, basically. Yeah, it's where your syllabus is, the learning material is. Like, oh, if the chapters 1 of this textbook is taught in class, is also on Aula Global if you want to look at it later. So that, I don't know what you call that, but yeah, it's like a student, basically like everything you learn in class, it's also going to be there. So you'll have access to that. Also, you have access to, also you get an email too. Okay, so every single student of the university, whether it's permanent student or international student, temporary student, you will have a student ID number, and that will be your student ID number, so nobody else has it. So everybody ID number starts with 100 dash, and then, you know, everybody has a different number after that. And so they'll give you your number through your student email when you'll receive that after, you know, registering for the university. So you'll get that. Just don't worry. Just look at through your emails and you'll get your student number. Also, so many people have been asking me this. Guys, please believe me on this. I really don't know the tuition of the school. So I went to the school and I really don't know the tuition of the school. So the tuition that I paid was the home university of my school in New York, which was $3,500, which is that's the normal tuition. So I don't really know the tuition of the university. I did search it online. However, online, it was the website I was looking at, it was just pretty unreliable. It was just kind of like a random website. I don't know, I just didn't trust it, so I don't want to put a number out there. But what I will say, I did meet somebody. Her name is Carla. She's a permanent student of the university, and she said, don't quote me on this, but she said something about 3,000 euros either per semester or per year, you know? So I don't, it's 3,000 euros something, but don't quote me on that. Please do your research, ask somebody from the university, they'll tell you really easily about the tuition. So yeah, I think that's all about my experience of orientation and my academic experience in UC3M. So yeah, that's it. If you guys have any questions, you can leave it down in the comments. I'll answer it if I didn't answer it before. I'll do an updated like Q&A if you guys have any more questions. But yes, that is my orientation and my academic experience in UC3M. If you ask me would I do it again, the major thing I did not like was the practical and theory classes. I just did not like the separation and the two different professors. I don't know, I just didn't like it. So that's it. So my next video is gonna be how my ESN experience and how I made friends and my ESN trips that I went to and all that. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and yeah, see you in the next video. Yeah, just hold on.